I was only 11, but I still remember the way she looked at me, like she knew I wouldn't survive. If you've ever been somewhere that just didn't feel right, you know the kind of place, you'll understand what I mean. That place where the air feels heavy, and people stare too long, not because you're new, but because they know something you don't. It was my first time in Grand Isle, Louisiana. My dad brought me and my older brother Kyle down there to visit an old relative, his great aunt, who everyone called Grandma Pearl. I wasn't supposed to come. It was always just Dad and Kyle who made these summer trips to the coast, but this year, Mom insisted I go too. Said she didn't want me running around our neighborhood while she was working double shifts. Looking back, I wish I'd stayed home. The journey was long. We took a bus, then a boat, then hiked down a muddy path lined with thick trees and silence. When we finally reached the village, Grandma Pearl was waiting near a dock. She smiled when she saw Dad and Kyle, but when she looked at me, that smile dropped like a stone in water. She pulled Dad aside and started scolding him in a language I didn't understand. It sounded sharp, angry. Dad just glanced at me, then nodded without saying much. I asked Kyle what they were talking about. He placed a hand on my shoulder and whispered, "Just stay quiet for now. I'll explain later." Of course, I didn't stay quiet. "What is she saying?" I said, louder than I meant to. That's when Grandma Pearl turned, looked me dead in the eye, and asked, "Do you believe in witches?" Her voice was flat, cold. Before I could answer, she said, "If you don't, you better learn fast. Watch your back, girl." She turned and started walking again. I laughed it off, nervous. "She's just trying to scare me," I whispered to Kyle. He didn't answer. The village itself was strange. More like a collection of old shacks scattered along the edge of a marsh. Everything smelled of salt and rot. People paused what they were doing to stare at us, not in a friendly way, more like how animals go still when they sense something's wrong. Grandma Pearl's shack sat behind a tightly woven bamboo fence. There were 4 dogs chained up out front, surprisingly calm considering how intense everything felt. As soon as we put our bags down, Grandma Pearl announced we were going to visit a healer. "We just got here," I protested. "I'm tired." Dad just said, "We're going. It's not safe here." The healer lived in a smaller hut further inland. The villagers we passed smiled politely but kept their distance. Even Kyle kept his head down. When we got there, I immediately refused to participate in the ritual. "No way," I said. "I don't believe in this stuff. Burning herbs and magic chants? That only attracts more of what you're trying to avoid." Dad was mad. Grandma Pearl was furious. The healer just stared at me and handed me a small bottle on a string. "Wear it," he said. "It's not a charm, it's a warning. If the liquid inside boils, don't talk, don't run, don't scream, just get away from whoever's near you." He leaned closer. "This isn't the kind of place where being stubborn will keep you safe, girl." I didn't argue after that. That night we slept early. I was sore from the trip and tried to get comfortable with that stupid bottle hanging around my neck. I remember thinking how ridiculous it was, but I was too tired to care. I woke up sometime after midnight. It was pitch black, the kind of darkness you don't get in cities. No power, no night lights, just endless black. I wasn't sure why I woke up until I heard it. A woman, laughing. Not normal laughing, not a chuckle. It sounded like someone being tickled to death, breathless and hysterical, like she was having the time of her life and in the middle of the goddamn woods. I sat up, heart racing. The sound was faint, but close, so close. And then it stopped. I don't remember falling back asleep. I don't remember if I even moved. All I remember was feeling like something was standing just outside the window. The next morning, everything looked normal. Bright sun, birds chirping, dogs pacing lazily in the yard. I almost convinced myself it was just a dream. Dad and Grandma Pearl were heading to the market, and she asked Kyle to go to the next village to pick up some rubber tires for the evening bonfire. Said it was to keep the bugs and other things away. She also sent some fruit along, as a gift to her friend. "You're coming with me," Kyle told me. "No, I'm not." He rolled his eyes. "Casey, don't start." I folded my arms. "I'm tired, I don't want to go." Kyle didn't push. He never did when I was in a mood. "Fine, but don't leave this yard. And don't open the gate for anyone." Yeah, I said. He left. The house felt big and silent. I sat in the garage and started playing fetch with Grandma's dogs to pass the time. There were 4 of them, all smart and responsive. I threw a stick across the yard. They fought over it, wagging their tails. It was actually kind of fun. Then I threw it too far. It went sailing over the bamboo fence and into the thick underbrush. None of the dogs chased it. I called them, waved toward the fence. Nothing. They just stood still, watching me. One of them even whimpered. I sighed. Fine, I'll get it myself. I walked around the side of the fence, looking for the stick. That's when it happened. The bottle around my neck, ice cold just a moment ago, began to boil. It got hot fast, burning my chest. I yanked it off and dropped it. It shattered on a rock. I froze. What did the healer say? If it boils, get away. Before I could even fully process it, I heard the dogs barking, furious, aggressive. I rushed back to the yard and saw a figure standing just outside the gate. An old woman, thin, hunched, pale skin, wearing a faded floral dress and a wide smile. The dogs snarled and barked at her like they were ready to attack. She smiled wider when she saw me. "Morning, sweetheart. Is your grandma home?" Her voice was syrupy. "She's at the market," I said cautiously. "With my dad." "Oh, that's too bad," she said, still smiling. "I'm an old friend of hers. I thought I'd drop by." She tried to step forward. The dogs went berserk. She stopped. "Are you the lady who was supposed to give Kyle the tires?" I asked. She hesitated, just for a second. Then, Yes, that's me. Why don't you come with me? I'm sure your brother's already at my place, probably wondering where you are." Something didn't feel right. The way she spoke was off, like she was rehearsing, and her eyes, they never blinked. "I need to go lock the house," I said, backing away. She nodded, smiling all the while. I shut the gate and ran inside. But curiosity, and something else, pushed me to look out again. She was still standing there. Then she turned around and started walking down the dirt path, not looking back. One of the dogs whimpered beside me. Something in me decided I needed to follow. I leashed the boldest of the dogs, the one who had tried to block me earlier, and stepped out the gate. The moment the woman saw the dog, her smile dropped. "Why'd you bring that thing?" she asked, voice clipped. "He goes where I go," I replied. We started walking. The dog stayed glued to my side, tense, staring at the woman the entire time. Every few minutes it growled low in its throat. The woman walked several feet ahead, not saying a word. After a while I realized she was speeding up, like she wanted to get away from us. I didn't know what I was doing, honestly. Maybe I was trying to prove to myself it was all in my head, that she was just some weird, cranky old lady and this was just an awkward rural misunderstanding. But something kept nagging at me. The dog knew something. Suddenly I looked up and she was gone. She had turned a corner in the trail, but when I followed, nothing. Just trees and silence. Then I heard the crunch of footsteps behind me. I turned. No one. My dog began barking, loud and sharp. He pulled against the leash, pointing toward the woods where the woman had vanished. I knelt down, hugging him, whispering for him to calm down. That's when I heard it. Laughter. That same horrible, high-pitched laugh I heard the night before. Close now, right behind the trees. Without thinking, I ran. I didn't know where I was going, just that I had to get away. The dog ran with me, barking furiously. Branches scratched my arms, my legs, my chest burned from running. Then, somehow, I saw the shack. Our shack. I ran toward it, heart pounding. The dogs we left behind were barking at the gate, but they weren't barking at me. They were barking at something behind me. I didn't look back. I burst through the gate and collapsed onto the wooden bench by the garage. The dog I brought with me kept barking at the trees. Then, nothing. Silence. The woman never reappeared, but I had a deep, burning scratch across my back, like claws had raked me just before I made it home. By the time Dad and Grandma Pearl returned, I was still sitting on the bench, shaking and silent. My clothes were soaked with sweat and my hands wouldn't stop trembling. Dad noticed immediately. "Casey, what happened?" I didn't answer. Grandma Pearl rushed to me, brushing my hair back, checking for fever. "Did someone come here?" she asked. I finally nodded. "An old woman," I whispered. "She said she was your friend." That was all it took. Her face dropped. Her whole body stiffened. "Did she touch you?" I don't know, I said. I think so. I think she scratched me. I turned around and lifted the back of my shirt. Gasps. Even I hadn't seen the wound until that moment. 3 long scratches, slightly raised, almost like burns, stretched across my shoulder blade. They weren't bleeding, but the skin around them looked wrong. Purple and red, like something had tried to dig under my skin and gave up halfway. Grandma Pearl grabbed my arm. "We need to burn tires! Now!" Within minutes, smoke curled up into the air from the backyard. The acrid smell filled my nose. Kyle returned not long after, confused, holding a bundle of rubber strips and fruit in his arms. "What the hell happened?" he asked. "No more questions," Dad said. "We're leaving tomorrow." That night, I couldn't sleep. The air was heavy, like the whole house was holding its breath. The dogs paced outside, growling at the darkness beyond the fence. Somewhere in the distance, a high-pitched whistle echoed through the trees. Grandma Pearl and the healer returned around midnight. He inspected my wound and frowned. "She touched her," he said, "not fully transformed, but enough to leave a mark." "What does that mean?" I asked, already terrified of the answer. The healer crouched beside me. "She was trying to claim you, like marking territory." I swallowed hard. "What happens now?" "If she comes again, she won't pretend anymore." I couldn't speak. He handed me another bottle. "This one won't boil, but if the scratches ever start to burn again, you run, understand? Don't fight, don't talk, just run." I nodded, barely holding back tears. Before he left, he leaned in close and whispered, "The ones who smile the widest are often the ones with the sharpest teeth." The next day, we packed up. Dad didn't argue with Grandma Pearl about cutting the trip short. Even Kyle looked pale and serious. No more jokes, no more teasing. As we waited for the boat back to the mainland, I looked out at the trees, and there she was, half hidden behind a thick trunk, her smile crooked, her eyes unblinking, just standing there, watching. I gripped the bottle the healer gave me, and for a moment, I swear, I saw her smile falter. Just for a moment. Then she stepped back, disappearing into the forest like a shadow returning to the night. We made it home safely. But I didn't feel safe. The scratches on my back didn't fade. Not completely. Sometimes they itched. Sometimes they burned. Sometimes I felt like they were watching me. Weeks passed. The air in our city apartment was different, louder, busier, full of distractions. It should have made everything feel distant, like a bad dream I could forget. But I didn't. The dogs were gone. Grandma Pearl kept them. The bottle the healer gave me stayed on my nightstand. I never wore it again, but I couldn't throw it out either. One night, around 3 weeks after we left Grand Isle, I woke up again. Same time, same kind of darkness. The street lamps outside cast a faint orange glow through my window. The noise of the city was unusually quiet, and then I heard it. That laugh, high-pitched, giddy, echoing from the alley below my window. No one else stirred. I sat up, heart in my throat, and moved to the window. She was there, not fully visible, but enough. A silhouette, thin, hunched, head tilted upward like she knew exactly where I was. Her arms were moving in short, jerky twitches, and her mouth didn't close. It hung open like a puppet with cut strings. I stumbled back from the window, shaking. I didn't scream, I didn't speak. She never moved, just stared. The next morning, Dad told me we were moving. He said it like it was his idea. A new job, a better neighborhood. I didn't question it, but I knew the real reason. He saw her too. We moved 3 times that year. Each time she found us. Sometimes weeks later, sometimes months. A laugh in the dark. A crooked smile on a stranger in a crowd. Once I found a chicken bone on my bed, perfectly clean, laid across my pillow like a gift. Dad stopped arguing with Grandma Pearl after that. She told us what we already feared. The scratch wasn't just a warning, it was a mark. She didn't need to transform fully to reach me anymore. She just needed time. She was patient, always watching, waiting for the day I'd be alone again. I'm 25 now, I haven't seen her in almost a year. But sometimes in the middle of the night, I hear something moving outside my door. I don't go check anymore, I just sit still and listen. Because I know the moment I open that door, she'll smile again. If you made it this far, don't forget to subscribe. I survived, but only just. And trust me, this world is darker than you think. Hit that like button, share with someone who needs to hear this. And remember, don't open the door if you hear laughing.